Hi, I'm Emily, and this is Stephen Clune from the RMIT Centre for Design. And today we're going to be talking about our experience from the Shanghai World Expo. And the theme of the Expo was Better City, Better Life, and that's something that we're both very passionate about. So I just wanted to introduce Stephen Clune from RMIT. And thanks for coming along today. And I think it's what we want to cover is just the main themes of what the design conference was talking about, and also just cover off a few sort of stories and experiences that we had over in Shanghai. And this is obviously the red is to represent China, and that's one of their lucky, that they love red's everywhere. So I was wearing this for that today. But in terms of the conference, what Stephen presented a paper called Inverting the Solution into the Problem. Is that correct?
That is correct.
What does that mean?
Well, that means that if you think about sustainability, there's no shortage of potential solutions that people can do. If you think about walking, riding your bike, air drying your clothes, there's no shortage of potential solutions. But what the problem is that those solutions aren't being adopted. So try and take those simple sustainable activities and turn it in and problematise those, and then designers actually have something that they can try and design for. So to think about making the city more bike friendly is a real design problem. To make a city so people's default action is to walk is again a design problem. And the same with say trying to reduce temperatures in our offices so we're not relying on our air conditioner. Again, like to be able to do that requires a rethink of our designed environment.
Do you think at the conference there was a focus on those issues, or do you think that there was more of a focus on the solutions?
I think that it's an interesting balance, because there was a lot of looking for social capital in identifying potential solutions. So there was a strong focus of problematizing sort of social areas, like how do you actually get the masses to work together to try and solve some particular issues. But I still think it's probably one of the areas where it's it's a direction for design to really try and head to. And I think the ethos of what, say, Ezio Manzini talks about, that's very much in his work of trying to say, okay, how do you actually enable societies to complete these particular desirable activities?
Yes.
How can you sort of assist them?
I think there was some fascinating projects all around the world that were brought to this design conference, Cumulus, and it was really inspiring for me just to share those ideas with people and connect. And one of the particular ones that I really liked was from the Goldsmiths College in London, and she was talking about learning centres, and that kind of ties in with the Ezio Manzini ideas of enabling people. So having learning centres in cities that enable people to live sustainably. What did you think of that idea?
I think that's it's a core idea to it.
Yeah.
A lot of it is to how to enable, and it's interesting in a lot of the projects that were shown, because there was across a diverse range of cultures. So you say, okay, we're going to an impoverished area that's a developing nation. How can you actually enable them to solve some of their say more material issues, like how do we get safe drinking water, or how to say redevelop a neighbourhood, say on the east side of Brooklands, which may be looked at as being disadvantaged. And then the other thing which I find for me is really interesting is when they're actually studying at the advantaged cultures. So there's cultures out there which are quite say if you think Docklands, it's we're in a lucky space, and so you can go, okay, sustainability is a problem of the advantage. It's not necessarily. It is even though it's a problem across all, all cultures and sort of nations, whether they're developed or not. The study of the advantage is probably
Can you
the key.
tease that idea out a little bit more, because that's really interesting. The idea that it's a problem of the advantage. So does that mean we have to take more responsibility for sustainability?
That where we address sustainability, if you look at it from that perspective, has to be in the study of developed nations in some degree. If you think about material resources, then it's sort of like the Pareto principle of 80-20, so 20% of the population use 80% of the resources. So by focusing on those 20% is, to me, or my logic in how I approach the problem is to try and actually see if we can make the developed world function more effectively.
In the Docklands, for instance, and with this particular project, urban reforestation, do you see this project as having a really important role to play from that perspective?
Absolutely. I think it's nice from a whole number of levels in that that it is sort of like a reasonably, location that's close to the city, so it's reasonably affluent, and the issues that they're facing in Docklands are not identical, but the same as the majority of the cities around the world, as far as whether they use resources, the way that people interact together. So there's always a way to move towards a more sustainable lifestyle within our cities, which is it's where the majority of people are moving to. So it's a place to look.
Just to finish up, what were your highlights from Shanghai? Not necessarily linked to Better City, Better Life conference, but just generally, what did you like about China and what didn't you like about China, maybe?
Well, I think that the number one, probably not number one, but it was a fascinating city, fascinating culture to look at. Probably the diversity of the culture there is incredible. Like, you can eat off the street for 4 yuan, and then you can get a cup of coffee that will cost 50 yuan.
So 4 yuan's like 80 cents.
Yep.
And the 40 yuan cup of coffee is like $7.
So there's a massive difference, and you see that sort of extreme of probably one of the most advanced cities I've lived in. And then if you look on the streets, and there's also probably some of the simplest trades around, like the bike mechanics is hitting the axle of a bike with a hammer, and you range from that to the most impressive architecture I've ever seen and the most impressive metro. So
it's an interesting contrast.
Massive contrast. And what about you, Emily? What model would you take away from the conference or from Shanghai?
Well, definitely from the conference, I was particularly interested in the Goldsmiths College idea of learning centres. And we're just about to embark on this new phase of urban reforestation, and the move of the garden to this new location, this 1,000 square metres of land, provides us with an opportunity to create something like a learning centre and provide, it is a model, or it's giving clues towards how it will provide a place for designers and the Docklands community to think of ways to enable sustainable lifestyles, and that's the question I'm really interested in now. And we've got this space to do it, so it's a very exciting time for us, and I'm hoping that we can have ongoing conversations and collaborations with you, because your ideas are amazing.
Thank you very much.
So on that, thanks so much for coming in today, and it was really great to experience the World Expo with you. And
likewise.
That's it for today.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Is that it?